Hey guys, so as you all know, we've done quite a bit of work to the back of the car already with the taillights, the deck lid, the exhaust tips, got that kind of cleaned up back there. So now I'm going to move on to the front, and my first thing is going to be to modify my grille. So a lot of people will just go ahead and buy a replacement grille. I didn't want to do that because it was going to be about 600 bucks, not even counting the shipping. So I didn't want to go that route, so I ended up getting this just mesh material. And basically I'm going to be modifying my factory grille, going to get rid of the chrome badge and just really open it up and give it a nice open look where you can see the intercooler behind there and everything. And I think it'll make the look front of the car a lot cleaner. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the video. So on your typical car, you'd have kind of a radiator protector that would go over the top. Mine should have that. However, whoever had this before me and did the installation on some stuff did not replace that cover, so that is long gone. That's something I would like to replace at some point, make things look a little better. So your first step would be to remove that. Since I don't have it, obviously I don't need to. So the next step will be you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8mm bolts that are going to hold in the top of this. And also underneath this little rubber flap here, you've got a 7mm. And then on the other side, you've got, oh, come on, another 7mm. Why they went with different sizes, I don't know. Guess they wanted to just keep it confusing. But that's going to kind of be your first step. You don't have to go in the same order that I'm going. I'm just going to show you kind of what to unbolt, but that's going to be kind of what I'm going to start with. So 6 8mm and then 2 7mm. So once you got all those bolts out, you're going to want to move down here on the side. I went ahead and turned my wheel all the way so that way I can get to these little push tabs a little better, because you're going to need to pop this inner fender back just slightly so that way you can get to a couple more screws that are behind there. All right, so go ahead and take your trim tool. As you can see, I'm missing one there, so I actually need to get another tab. And then whoever put this thing back together did not do a good job last time it was apart, because I think I'm also missing my lower guard that kind of goes up underneath. In fact, I'm 99%, yeah. So as you can see, it kind of makes this whole bumper kind of floppy. So I need to get that, and I need to get that upper radiator protector as well to really get this thing put back together properly. So once you get both out on that side, go ahead and move over to passenger side. And this one, as you can see, has actually got two in it. Go ahead and pull both of those guys out. Yeah, and then you can see my whole inner fender's all ate up. They've got missing pins all in there. Now my camera's all screwed up, but you can see kind of back there, I'm missing all kinds of stuff. So we'll get it all fixed up. It'll be good once we're done. Because typically you'd have to get to that inner fender one on this side, but now as you can see, basically my whole inner fender is loose now, so I don't think it is on the other side yet, so I'm going to have to twist my wheels the other way. Typically they say you can just raise up the car and pull your tires off to get to this stuff. I didn't really want to do that, so I just ended up going with twisting my wheels to either side so that way I could get to everything. And just real quick, I did miss one. You can see right there, that guy right on the, basically directly inside the fender. So the next thing you're gonna do is remove 2 7mm screws. There's gonna be one on either side. I didn't get video of me removing them because it's really hard to get the camera back in there. But basically, they go up in that hole right there and holds the bumper, this upper fender, to the bumper itself, and I couldn't even get a ratchet in there. I ended up just having to use a 7mm box wrench, which worked. Unfortunately, I didn't have a gear wrench that was just in 7mm in size, but oh well, it worked. I imagine if you were to pull the wheel off and actually pull that whole inner fender out, you could probably get a ratchet in there pretty easy, but I wasn't able to, so the wrench ended up working for me. But yeah, you're gonna have one of those on either side, and those are gonna have to come out to separate the bumper from the front part of that fender. So once those two side bolts are out, you're basically just gonna grab in there. I already got this one loose before I started the camera, but it's just gonna pop right out. Same thing on the other side. Just kind of grab in there, and it's gonna pop right out. And like I said, mine isn't attached with that underside, basically splash guard or whatever. So I'm basically hanging just off of the top of the bumper now. So you can kind of see in there, but I do have wire still. So as you pull this thing off, you're gonna wanna make sure and undo all the electrical connectors for the fog lights. And I imagine there's probably some crash sensors or something, who knows, but basically just disconnect all the wiring as you pull this bumper off. All right, so I brought my bumper into a more open area in my shop just so I could see it a little better and kind of have more space to work on it. I did set it on this, just some old packing I had. Not super necessary, there's no painted surface. I mean, you do have this little chin lip or whatever that's just regular plastic that kind of protects it so long as you keep it sitting upright. But anyway, to get your grill out, you're going to need to pop all of these little tabs out. And I don't know if you can see it very well. It kind of got, you can see this part here is attached to the actual grill. And then on the bottom side, there's kind of a hook. So you basically just push on that, pull out gently, and we're going to work way around the whole thing. You can see it kind of comes loose. And to get to these lower ones, I think I'm gonna go ahead and pop off this, whatever this guy is here, and get that out of the way so that way I can get to both the upper and lower portions of the grill. So go ahead and pull off this inner piece here. Just these little tabs you kind of gotta push up on because they're kind of hooked back into the plastic, but they do come off pretty easily. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now we really get a lot of nice access to the rest of the bumper. Or not the bumper, excuse me, the grill. Oh, there it went. So now the grill is out. And basically it looks like the lower one. Don't know what that came from. That sucks. But the lower one is going to be basically the same concept. All right, so after probably a solid, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, finally got the lower one out. It was way harder to get out for some reason than the top piece. These tabs were just really stuck on there. I ended up having to use a screwdriver, which I'd recommend using, period, rather than the trim tool. The trim tool is just a little bit too flexible. So make sure you don't pry it too much, because obviously you can break these, but for now, at least, both of these are out. So now that we've got the grill out of the vehicle, we can go ahead and start getting ready to modify it. So basically what we're gonna do, I ordered this kit from, it's called customcargrills.com. And it's a pretty cool concept because, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these grills you can buy online, they're just doing the same thing as what you'd be doing right here. So, as you can see there, Matt Sparks, founder and owner, Matt at customcargrills.com. So, I mean, yeah, you could probably take and do this yourself, save yourself even more money. I personally don't have a problem helping a guy out that came up with a cool idea to help other people save literally hundreds of dollars modifying their own grill if you just want to take a little bit of time. So there's the lower piece there, and then you got the two lower corners, I believe go like that. And then there is your upper as well as the side corner pieces. This mesh is a little bit bent, but that's no big deal because it does bend super easy back into place. So basically, we're going to take our factory grill, and I need to clean this up a bit, but you can kind of see here where it's a little bit textured, and then there where it turns to a more smooth plastic. Basically, we're going to cut out all along there all along the bottom and the sides, and that's going to remove this factory honeycomb style whatever, and it's going to get rid of all that. Same thing on the corners here, trim all that off, and that's going to leave it nice and open. Then we're going to take that mesh, put it on the back here, use some adhesive, and it's going to glue right to it, and we'll have a custom-made grill for a fraction of the price of what these aftermarket grills sell for. So to cut that out, I imagine you could probably use a hot knife. I don't know, that's going to be probably a little bit messy, probably leave it a little bit jagged, I guess you'd say. So what I personally am going to do is just take my Dremel tool. That wheel is basically torched, so I will get another one. But I'm just going to take my Dremel tool and use it for cutting around that, because I think that's going to work a lot better than a hot knife. Maybe this might not be the best idea. If you guys have a better idea of how you could cut this plastic, make sure you drop your ideas in the comments and maybe help somebody out. I know I need to quit being a peasant and get myself a cordless Dremel. I got my brother one for his birthday. Seems pretty sweet, so I'd like to get one here before too long. Seems like a better idea than what I'm doing, but oh well. So we got the middle section done. We'll be taking some super fine sandpaper and kind of clean up the edges. Get rid of that crap there. Other than that, we'll just take off these two side corners. All right, guys, lower grill is all cut out. Just gotta clean it up a little bit and it'll be ready to go. So we got the upper and lower grills all cut up. The factory honeycomb mesh is all cut out of there. Emblems are cut out of there. All the corners are cut out. Now basically just got to go through and do a bit of sanding, get rid of some of these rougher edges, clean them up a little bit so that way the adhesive sticks nice and good. And we'll get ready to add the new mesh that we got. Once you've got your grill pieces sanded or trimmed, whatever you want to do to where you're happy with them, I'd recommend taking some isopropyl alcohol or some type of cleaner and really cleaning off the back sides of these really well, because that mesh is going to need to be adhesived on there and you're going to want it to be able to bond as good as it possibly can. We're putting on these new pieces. As you can see, you're just going to kind of flip your grill over and the mesh is just going to sit right on there basically. And you're just going to fasten it to there with adhesive. If you buy the kit from the custom car grills place, he sells some adhesive with it. Since I live in Alaska, he wouldn't ship to me, so I ended up just going to Napa and got some regular Permatex adhesive. This has always worked pretty good for me for this brand, for anything I've used, so should work pretty good. But you can see needs to dry for an hour, 24 hours to full cure. So we're just going to kind of spread that around the edges, and I got a few little clamps. We'll see how it does, but probably especially on the center where it kind of angles in a little bit, we'll have to put them there probably, and that should work, hold everything in pretty well. All right, I've got the grill upper all glued in place. Something I'll just point out that did help me a little bit is the sides here. They're kind of straight when the guy sends them to you. So I'd recommend kind of taking your time and bending them to kind of curve to how the plastic is formed. That's going to help you get that mesh up against your plastic a little better and make it where the adhesive can really be just kind of grab it a little bit better, and you don't have to use as much as well. So this one's all done, kind of clamped up. Go ahead and set it to the side, and then I'll go ahead and get the lower one all done. And like I was saying, this does take about an hour to get where it's not tacky. So it's going to be at least an hour before we actually go ahead and throw this back into the front bumper. So we got the mesh attached to both grill pieces, just waiting for them to dry now basically at this point. So now, if you're doing this, it's a good time to go wash your hair or something, depending on if you care or not, because all that black, basically plastic dust from the Dremel tool cutting out these grills, of course it got all in my hair and everything. So good time to do that. Go make lunch, whatever you want to do, and then come back in an hour, see if they're setting up okay, and go from there. All right, so I went ahead and let the adhesive glue and set up overnight. So the grills are all pushed back in. It's just the same process as removing them, except way easier because you just got to push everything in, seats right back in, put that centerpiece back in there. Everything's looking really nice. Looks nice and clean, got rid of the badge. I mean, it's all a matter of preference, of course, but basically this saved quite a bit of money versus buying a grill. And the nice thing is, if I don't like this, I can always switch it up later. And it's not really gonna be putting me out anything. So, got everything all cleaned up. Gonna go ahead and get this installed back on the front of the car. All right guys, so the new grill is completely installed now. And obviously, as you can see, it got rid of the chrome badge, which in my opinion just makes the front end look a little more aggressive. Really cleans it up and makes it just look better in general. And also you can kind of see the intercooler in the background there now, which I think is kind of cool. But another thing that, I mean, you could almost say is better from a performance standpoint is this mesh that I put in is a lot more open. The factory honeycomb style plastic that they had in here, I know up on these edges here and also here, it was actually even blocked off. So you realistically, and I'll say one thing on the bottom, but you realistically should be getting even more airflow than factory now with this. So I'll be putting a link in the description for this kit, or otherwise, like I was saying, you guys are obviously more than welcome to source your own mesh, probably be even cheaper. But this is a pretty cheap upgrade that you guys can easily do yourself, make the whole front end look a lot cleaner. So I'll have a link in the description for that for you guys. And you're gonna wanna stick around, so make sure and subscribe and be on the lookout for the next video, because we're gonna be putting new wheels and tires and lowering springs on this car. So stick around for that, because this thing is gonna turn out really nice. So we'll catch you guys later.